Is Tokyo safe for a solo woman at night? I'm sure you've heard people say that Tokyo is one of the safest places in the world. But before you rush to pack your bags and pay a visit, I advise that you watch this video to the end first. Because seriously, there are certain areas of Tokyo you might want to avoid, especially if you're a woman moving solo. But does that make Tokyo unsafe? Keep watching this video to find out the shocking truth. Tokyo's reputation as a safe city. According to various global safety rankings, Tokyo consistently tops the list for low crime rates, clean streets, and a strong sense of community. Walking through the city during the day, you'll notice how orderly and peaceful it feels. In fact, you can leave your phone on a cafe table while grabbing your coffee, and it'll still be there when you return. That's Tokyo for you. However, safety during the day doesn't always mean the same at night. Because while Tokyo is far safer than many other major cities, certain situations and locations can still pose risks, especially for solo women. For this reason, it's important to understand that being safe doesn't mean letting your guard down completely. Understanding crime in Tokyo. Now, to truly understand how safe Tokyo is at night for solo women, we need to first understand the city's crime landscape. Now, when people talk about crime in Tokyo, they're usually referring to petty crimes like pickpocketing or bike theft, which are relatively rare compared to cities in other countries. In fact, violent crimes like assault are extremely uncommon. However, there's a lesser-known side of Tokyo that travelers, especially women, should be aware of. For example, groping incidents on public transportation have been a long-standing issue in Japan. To address this, women-only train cars have been introduced during peak hours. These cars are a great option for solo women, especially if you're traveling late at night or early in the morning. But outside of public transportation, you'll find that certain districts in Tokyo are hotspots for nightlife and may not be as safe as the rest of the city. Which areas should you avoid? That being said, most of Tokyo is perfectly safe. But let's talk about the exceptions. Kabukicho, located in Shinjuku, is one of Tokyo's most famous nightlife districts. It's packed with neon lights, bars, and clubs, making it a magnet for tourists and locals looking for a fun night out. But behind the bright lights lies a different story. Kabukicho is also known as Tokyo's red light district. And while it's not as dangerous as red light areas in some other countries, there's a higher chance of encountering scams, aggressive touts, or establishments that might overcharge you. Another area to be cautious of is Roppongi. It's a popular spot for expats and tourists, and is filled with international bars and nightclubs. But some clubs in Roppongi have a reputation for drink spiking or targeting foreigners with inflated bills. So if you're a woman who's out alone solo in these areas, be extra vigilant. How to stay safe in Tokyo at night? Now you're probably wondering, what can I do to make sure I stay safe if I'm exploring Tokyo at night? The good news is that with the right precautions, you can avoid most risks and enjoy the city worry-free. First, always stick to well-lit and busy streets. Tokyo is a city that never really sleeps, so you'll often find people walking around even late at night. However, avoid venturing into dark alleys or secluded areas, no matter how curious you may feel. Curiosity can lead to trouble, especially when you're alone. Second, plan your transportation in advance. Tokyo's trains and subways are incredibly efficient, but many lines stop running after midnight. If you're staying out late, make sure you know the last train schedule for your route. If you miss the train, you can always take a taxi, but be sure to use official taxis with a green license plate. These are regulated and safe. Third, watch your drinks. If you're enjoying Tokyo's nightlife, never accept drinks from strangers, and always keep an eye on your glass. Drink spiking is rare but not unheard of in certain nightlife districts. Public transportation, a safe haven. Now, one of Tokyo's biggest advantages is its excellent public transportation system. The trains and subways are clean, reliable, and safe, even at night. As mentioned earlier, many lines have women-only cars during specific times, which can offer peace of mind if you're traveling alone. These cars are clearly marked, so you won't have trouble finding them. That said, late-night trains can get a bit rowdy, especially on weekends when people are returning home from parties. because while most people in Japan are respectful, it's still a good idea to stay alert. If you ever feel uncomfortable, don't hesitate to move to another car or ask station staff for help. What about the language barrier? Now, I know you might be wondering if not speaking Japanese could make things more challenging. But the truth is, Tokyo is very tourist-friendly and many signs are in English. While most locals don't speak fluent English, they're usually happy to help if you ask politely. So if you find yourself in an emergency, simply showing someone the word koban, which means police box, or 110, which is the police hotline, will get you assistance. Also, there are apps like Google Translate that can help you communicate quickly if needed. So don't let the language barrier stop you from enjoying the city, but do prepare a few basic phrases just in case. How to handle unwanted attention. While it's rare, there's always a chance of encountering unwanted attention, especially in nightlife areas. Some men may try to strike up a conversation or invite you to a club. In these cases, it's best to remain polite but firm. A simple "no, thank you" or "sumimasen daijoubu desu," which means "no, I'm fine," will usually do the trick. But if someone persists, don't hesitate to walk away or seek help from nearby staff or police. Emergency situations and who to call. I have to mention that knowing what to do in an emergency can make all the difference. In Japan, the police hotline is 110, and for medical emergencies or fires, you can call 119. Both lines have English-speaking operators, so don't hesitate to call if you need help. Another handy option is finding the nearest koban. These small police boxes are scattered throughout the city and are staffed 24/7. The officers inside are friendly and approachable, so don't hesitate to ask them for assistance if you feel unsafe or lost. Cultural norms that work in your favor. Luckily for all the solo women exploring Tokyo at night, Japanese culture is deeply rooted in respect and community. People tend to mind their own business and avoid causing trouble for others. And this cultural mindset contributes to Tokyo's overall sense of safety. For instance, locals are unlikely to approach or bother you unless you ask for help. However, this also means that if you're in a tricky situation, you may need to take the first step in asking for assistance. Why Tokyo is still worth it? At this point, you might be wondering, is Tokyo even worth visiting as a solo woman? All things considered, the answer is a resounding yes. Because when it comes to safety, Tokyo is often seen as a shining example of how a city should function. And for solo women, especially those traveling at night, the city offers a sense of security that's rare in most urban areas. The streets are well lit, crime rates are impressively low, and people are generally respectful. But does this mean Tokyo is entirely risk-free? Not quite. While Tokyo's overall safety is hard to dispute, there are nuances that travelers must consider. For instance, certain areas like Kabukicho and Roppongi have earned a reputation for being slightly sketchy at night, with reports of scams, drink spiking, and aggressive touts. These aren't widespread issues, but they exist and are worth noting, particularly for solo women. Additionally, while public transportation is incredibly reliable, incidents of groping have been reported, even on crowded trains. The introduction of women-only cars is a great step, but it doesn't entirely eliminate the risk. That being said, most of these concerns are manageable with the right precautions. Sticking to busy areas, being aware of your surroundings, and avoiding interactions with overly persistent strangers can significantly reduce any potential risks. Tokyo's strong police presence and culturally ingrained respect for others also work in your favor. So, is Tokyo safe for a solo woman at night? The answer is yes, but with some clauses attached. It's safer than most cities, but no place is perfect. So stay cautious, trust your instincts, and you'll likely have an amazing, worry-free experience. But do you think it's best to have someone you trust explore the city with you at night? Head to the comments and tell us. And if you want to learn more about what really goes on in Japan, then subscribe to my channel right away.